Greetings and a warm welcome to all. Today it's about overview for the retrogression for 2023. With Mercury's retrogression on 21st of April, we will start the retrograde season of the planets for this year. It is the rhythm of the universe that time to time all the planets except the sun and the moon go retrograde. Rahu Ketu has natural retrograde motion. All the planets of the solar system move around the sun in the same direction, but their speed is different. But actually, no planet move reverse or in backward motion. When the planets with different speed moves in the same direction, then the slow moving planet will appear to be going backward, which is perceived as retrogression of the planets in astrology. For example, the runners on a race course. All the runners are running in the same direction with different speed as per their capacity to run. The slow runner may appear to be moving backward from the fast one, but he is moving ahead in the same direction but with slow speed than the fast runner. If individually we are that slow moving runner, then psychologically we do feel the impact and the pressure of others moving ahead of us. That's where the game changes. In the panic of others moving ahead and forward from us, faster than us, we either try to move faster than normal or get slow further, depending on our conscious. In both the case, we can make mistake as we are not behaving normal. Same way, planets always moves in the direct motion in the same direction with different speed, which at times create an impression of retrogression. But nothing actually happens in the sky. The planets are doing the same job with the same intensity and the same significations. The only difference is retrograde planets are closer to the earth and little away from the sun than normal. So the impact of retrograde planet can be felt stronger as apparently they are moving slower. It is perceived that retrogression creates delays, hardships, and blockages. Individually, retrogression impacts our psychology in a manner that it can influence our actions based on our perception and our consciousness. In reality, it does not necessarily create blockages. Otherwise, the entire world would stop functioning. Actually, there is a symbolic message behind this retrogression. It signals the time to dig deep, reflect, rethink, and then redo something. You can think of all the re words like regain, review, revise, refine. A natal retrograde planet in birth chart is significant as there is a specific area in our life which needs our special attention. At times, even purpose of our life is with that planet, that sign and house with retrograde connections. In a broad way, whether in transit or in birth chart, retrogression impacts our perception deeply. In transit, it is an opportunity to slow down where the retrogression happens and do things differently with some extra focus. It is the time to make necessary corrections in the way we handle the same situation. See, the impact is more internal or psychological. We feel that way. Retrogression is neither good or bad, but retrograde planets are very powerful. It is the raw impact of that planet without much interference of sun, our king of the solar system, as the retrograde planet is far from the command of the sun, and they act 100% on their natural original signification based on the sign they are placed in. So, individually, we can think of a person without any boundaries, any restrictions, a class without a teacher, or an office without a boss. There are no rules. The planet is self governing, and that makes it very strong. The behavior of everyone will be different based on their personal strength of the planet. But the expression of the planet's energy can be unpredictable and very unique in nature. Internally, there are three major impacts when a planet is retrograde. There is slowness. It can lead to confusion, mistakes, misunderstanding, and repetition in the task. And thus, there are delays. But with an opportunity to work differently, with new and improved ways. The purpose of retrograde planet is to master that area where it is retrograde. So I expect repeated attempts with gradual progress and a great opportunity to gain better understanding of the areas signified by that planet. Initially, there can be difficulty expressing the energy externally, or there can be confusion creating mental block. This can force us to stop and reconsider our actions. The retrograde impacts the most at the beginning of the retrogression and at the end of the retrogression. The middle time is still better. Every year in transit, we have certain planets going retrograde, giving us an opportunity to relearn a specific lesson for our own growth. We have fixed timeline for each planet with their duration to get retrograde every year. Mercury gets retrograde 3 times a year. Mars and Venus once every 2 years. Early this year, we had retrogression of Mars, and in the mid of this year, we shall have Venus retrograde in Cancer and Leo. Interestingly, we have retrogression of all the slow moving planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto every year for 4 to 5 months. Individually or in transit, the theme of the retrograde planet is a need of some reworking or some reflection on a specific area where the planet is retrograde. Since February, we had a time of all planets direct. But now with Mercury retrograde on 21st of April, we are starting with retrograde season. And one by one, the planets will get retrograde. We can focus on the signification of the planet, house, and sign. But most importantly, the degree at which a planet gets retrograde and direct, as that's where the planet is stationed. That's where a planet takes a pause and reflects something which it has missed in its direct motion. This year, all the dharma signs and fire signs has some notable retrograde placements, and Aries being a prominent one in that. Mercury gets retrograde in all 3 fire signs. Jupiter and Uranus will be retrograde in Aries, Venus in Leo. So the fire element and its signification can play prominent role this year while dealing with all the retrogradations. Talking about the fire element, fire is the spirit within us, a creator and even a destroyer, and represents our desire. Everything starts with the seed of that one desire. It gives fertility, growth, but is also capable to destroy things to ashes. Fire element signifies our adventurous, spontaneous, and egoistic side. Also, our approach towards dominance, who will rule and what, that can be signified by fire signs. Fire sign also indicates our willpower, passion, responsibilities, where we are generally using our energy the most. We can look for courage, strength, and power from the fire signs. Fire brings light also, signifies knowledge, confidence, leadership qualities, and heat. On a downside, fire can trigger conflicts, can make us jealous and angry. But fire helps to purify, heal, and transform in the end. Expect more than normal hot summer, fire accidents, or heated arguments this year with all the retrogression. So check the fire signs and their significations in your chart, especially the Aries sign, then Leo and Sagittarius. Reflect on where there is a need for some rework, change, or improvement, and which area of your life needs some fire, some passion and enthusiasm. We also have solar eclipse in Aries. Observe where you have to work. What is the area of concern or need some modification? Generally, the fire signs indicate our dharma in our lifetime. That is this lifetime. It points out our sense of identity, our duties, responsibilities, and the purpose of life is with fire signs. And Aries is a raw fire, the first sign of the zodiac where birth takes place, has the spark in it and potential to activate things. Expect new beginnings somewhere in your life this year, depending on your personal birth chart. But certainly, it impacts you as a person, your actions, your freedom, your individuality, and your health. And most importantly, your moral responsibilities and purpose of your life. Most of this year, we shall be dealing with all these significations of fire signs. It is the time to learn the missed lessons and improve ourselves at all the levels. 2023 is the year of Ketu, number 7, which is another indication of prominent fire element this year. What will help us to balance this fire energy is the water element. The second most important element this year we are going to deal with, where the most retrogression is happening, and that is water element. Apart from Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, Capricorn and Aquarius also has significations of water element. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces are the moksha signs, which signals to surrender, let go for our own peace, and grow spiritually. They demand us to be emotional and caring while handling any challenging situation. With these signs, we learn some lasting lessons and attain enlightenment. I have highlighted certain key degrees of this retrograde planets to watch for in transit and even in your birth chart. They are 3 degrees, 6 degrees, 11 degrees, 13 degrees, 21 degrees, and 28 degrees, and these degrees are repeated more than 2 times in this transit. We also have an eclipse degree as 5, 20, 27, and 11. So if your natal planets or cusp is close to any of these degrees with plus and minus 2 degrees, then retrogression of those planets can be eventful for you. More so if you are also running the dasha period of those planets. Do not get into good and bad impact. It's the time of reflection and to do something right that you couldn't do earlier. As mentioned earlier, focus on the fire trine And especially the Aries sign, where Mercury and Jupiter both are getting retrograde at almost same degree point. Also observe the timeline and the events that are happening during Mercury retrograde in this April. Expect similar or extended version of the same event when Jupiter will get retrograde at the same degree points. Also watch the Pluto and Uranus station degree for some major events which can bring some radical and unexpected changes. With all these analysis, I want to draw your attention to the point of reference which can be very important to interpret and know the likely impact of all these retrogradations. Further, check the significations of the house and the sign of the retrograde planet. Here I have shared the most general significations for each sign and house for your reference. The cusp or the house signification can give you a fair idea of where you need to reflect. And the sign in which the retrogression happens can indicate about how you will probably feel or experience those energies. The signification of retrograde planet will indicate what type of energies will get impacted. Here I have shared the most common significations for each planet for your reference. This year Mercury gets retrograde in all the fire signs. It impacts the way we think. We communicate about our own self, our logical thinking, intelligence, and our reasoning power. It will draw our focus on to work on our personal responsibilities, educating ourselves with the latest knowledge and to express it with confidence. It can be a very good time to withdraw temporarily from that situation where there is a chance of conflict and to improve and understand things in a better manner. Even Venus will be retrograde in Leo sign, another fire sign, and will cross Ashlesha and Magha Gandanta total 3 times during this retrogression. It is the right time to step back and observe our emotional side from a different angle. Improve the way you express your feelings and affections in your relations. It can be very challenging for relations, for your peace of mind, home, and even your finances. Expect lot of fluctuations in these significations. It can be a test for your emotional commitments and the way you express it. It can either give you healing in your relations or can bring complete transformation. It is the best time to reassess your needs with proper evaluation of your values, love, and pleasure. Venus has a cycle of 8 years where Venus comes back to the same place while in retrogression. Previously, in July 2015, Venus was retrograde in Cancer and Leo and in Ashlesha and Magha Gandanta. Do reflect on your experience back in 2015 for better understanding. Then we have Mars retrograde early this year. And now there is no retrogression for Mars till December 2024. But generally, Mars retrogression impacts our action, aggression, along with our passion, energy, and our desires. There can be doubts on our own capacity to fight and defend ourselves. We may lack our willpower and courage or become little impulsive in nature. It can be the best time to think twice before taking any action while Mars is retrograde. Then this year we have a new cycle of Jupiter in Aries, giving us lessons on our reliability, on luck, versus our own capacity to lead and initiate anything new. Retrograde Jupiter in Aries can shake our faith in our ability, but also can give us wisdom and knowledge to improve our power. Retrograde Jupiter in Aries may push us to keep up with our stamina, our leadership qualities, and keep exploring new opportunities. This time, Jupiter will get retrograde in Bharani Nakshatra, Venus's Nakshatra, where we have Venus also in Leo Cancer Gandanta. Bharani is a survival point of our chart and can certainly give some major transformation while this retrogression. It is the time to trust our own self and action more than our luck. Talking about Saturn retrogression, then with Saturn retrograde, the correction can be in our professional commitments, our health, along with our tough responsibilities of life, our ambitions, and discipline in general. It is also about any limitations or restrictions that we may have in our life, our fears, and the way we deal with our sufferings. Saturn will mostly be in Shatatara Nakshatra during its retrogression, and Saturn is also aspecting Rahu, the lord of Shatatara, in Aries. This clearly indicates that we shall have concrete result during this retrogression. Saturn's retrogression teaches us to work on being organized, committed, be duty bound, and consistent in our action. With Saturn and Rahu, it's always time for some results of our past deeds. Generally, Saturn gives slow results, but with retrogression, you may experience some instant results of what you say or what you do. So be careful. Now, talking about the slowest outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, who has more of a global or collective impact. With these outer planets and their retrogression, we can have significant changes not only on an individual level, but it is something about everyone, the society, and community in general. It can be some collective matter, any natural calamities which can impact us personally and has an impact on our soul, like we experienced COVID in 2020. Uranus will be retrograde in Bharani Nakshatra and Kritika Nakshatra this time. And this is the final transit of Uranus in Bharani Nakshatra. Again, Venus's Nakshatra, where Venus will get retrograde in Leo, fire sign. So I expect final correction of what Venus represents in our chart, along with Aries sign where Uranus is placed. Significations like finances, relations, and our personality, along with our health, can have the most impact. Uranus will not transit Bharani Nakshatra for next 84 years. Most of us will not be even alive to experience the next transit of Uranus in Aries. So it is best time to bring the necessary changes where Aries is placed and also in the significations of Venus. It is the time to reflect on where in your life you need a unique approach and do things differently as far as Venus is concerned. Retrograde Uranus can get you out of your comfort zone, giving you totally new experience and in the most sudden and unexpected manner. Then Neptune will be retrograde in Pisces, mostly in Purva Bhadrapad Nakshatra. Again, Jupiter's Nakshatra, where Jupiter is in Aries sign. The signification of Pisces sign and Jupiter will be impacted in our chart. It's the time to rethink. Where did you lose the touch with reality? About your intuition, illusion in life, and what you were trying to escape from. Its retrogression teaches to work on our dreamy side and our imaginations, teaches us to be practical and to live in the present. Lastly, Pluto, the mighty, will be retrograde in Capricorn, in Sun's Nakshatra, Uttarashadha. There is absolutely no personal control with what is happening when Pluto is influencing our key planet or a house. We will be forced to evolve, transform, and surrender our ego. Pluto heals in the hardest way. Without even you realize, things can change that you have never thought of changing. Focus on the lordship of sun, the role sun plays in your chart, and the sign placement of Capricorn, where Pluto is transiting. You may feel powerless and you may lose your control there. Pluto retrogression can bring the truth, the reality in front of us in the most unexpected manner. Transforming and accepting the change is the only way out with Pluto retrogression. That was all about the impact of the planets while in retrogression for 2023. To summarize, there is nothing to worry about any retrogression. It's all about understanding how they will impact us and be prepared. All the retrograde planets helps us in a way to work on something in our life and can be seen as a chance to improve our life. Retrogression takes us back, will force us to remember the past experiences and encourage to use those experiences in the present to make it better. There is no straight answer with these planets. We cannot be sure of their behavior, and we need to repeatedly do things till we get it right. And the most active time of reflection is when a planet is stationary. Before starting retrogression, the planet stops, and before starting its direct motion, the planet stops. Use this time period to find your answers, clear any confusion, and then take a step forward. You will have the best results of all these retrogression. That was all about this session. I hope this was helpful. Best wishes to everyone. Thank you for your time. Do write in your comments and queries, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.